Everyone, I'm Luis from luisreviewer.com. Here doing another video blog for my YouTube channel. Of course, I'm going to put the video on the podcast and also on Facebook. So I wanted to, I was thinking of, I was in the mood, just to do something about music. And I was thinking of different kind of things to say. But for this one, I wanted to kind of go to the 70s and share my favorite albums, not ranking them, just share them. My favorite albums from this decade. And I say album because, for example, I love Elvis, and Elvis had a lot of songs in the 70s. But I like the songs, not the albums as a whole. So, for example, I won't mention an album by Elvis, but if you ask me songs, then yes, I'm going to say a lot of songs. So mainly this is the main reason. I'm going to be focusing on albums, and I'm trying to pick one by each artist. Try not to pick more than one because, for example, Led Zeppelin, you'll pick them all. So I'm trying to say this is my absolute favorite record from the 70s by the artist that I like. So I'm going to start with an artist, of course, who still relevant, still big, and of course I'm talking about Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan released in 1975 what I consider his best album, in my opinion, and it's Blood on the Tracks. I mean, I love that record. I think it's the album that got me into Bob Dylan. I think it's the record that I first got, and I remember it was through Shelter in the Storm. Because that song appeared on the Jerry Maguire soundtrack, and it got me intrigued because I liked it. I knew of Bob because I've seen a lot of documentaries on the 60s, because by then I was already a Beatles fan, and of course Bob gets mentioned, and I knew like a Rolling Stone, but I haven't gotten into it heavily yet. I think until I heard this record, because I got the album because I liked Shelter from the Storm, and when I heard the record, it just blew my mind away. Tangled Up in Blue, Simple Twist of Fate, You're a Big Girl Now. I mean, the lyrics on this record are completely on another level, I have to say. So it's a great record. Idiot Wind, Lily, Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts. I mean, lyrically and musically, musically it's quite simple, but lyrically I think it's among Bob Dylan's best records. So that's the first one I'm going to mention. Second, I'm going to mention, I have to go to Bruce Springsteen. Bruce Springsteen, another one of my favorite albums from this decade is Born to Run. I don't know, there's something about that record, and when you got two songs like Thunder Road and Born to Run, and I think it was really smart because each song opens, if you get it on vinyl, Thunder Road opens side 1 and Born to Run opens side B, and those two songs are just amazing. I really love those two songs, and I think the whole album, 10th Avenue Freeze Out was a cool song. Backstreets, She's the One. It's a great record, and of course it was the album that I think launched really Bruce Springsteen's career. So obviously I have to mention that one. I don't have to, but I love it. I love the album. So after that one, another album of the 70s that I like, and this one might seem like an odd choice, but I'm gonna give it Horizons by the Carpenters. Now, I'm a fan of the Carpenters. I think Karen Carpenter's voice is among the greatest female voice in rock for me, or in music history. She doesn't get mentioned a lot, but I think she should. I think her voice, and she was like Elvis. She could make any song hers. She could sing a song and feel what, even though she didn't write it, she could actually express it or sing it in a way you believe that what she's feeling going through the song. And I truly love her as an artist. And her brother is an amazing composer, a musician and arranger. Of course, I'm talking about Richard. And when you talk about Horizon. It's such an amazing record. It's kind of like it's a little downbeat when you think about it. If I have to, be honest about it, but still, it's a great record. I love it. Desperado, which is a cover of the Eagles songs. It had original songs like Happy, Caught Between Goodbye and I Love You. Only Yesterday, which is a great song. I mean, this is a great album, and I love it. It's one of my favorite records. So let's see. Let's continue on the list. Okay, so let's go with moving on. Okay, let's go with Led Zeppelin. I believe Led Zeppelin is my second favorite band after the Beatles, and it's hard to pick one album. But for me, I had to say that my favorite record from the '70s from Led Zeppelin is Physical Graffiti. I think the record is just so has a little bit of everything. Epic songs like Kashmir, In the Light, In My Time of Dying. But this is a great record. Down by the Seaside. I mean, I really like this record. I think it was really, it's hard to pick it over Led Zeppelin 4, but I enjoy Physical Graffiti more. I mean, I love that record. Okay, so let's keep going. The next record I'm going to mention is Elton John, and I'm going to talk about Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. This is an amazing album. And again, when it comes to Elton John, I am also kind of like the casual fan, like a greatest hits fan. But this record, I've always loved it. I've always enjoyed it. Of course, it's a double album. It has a little bit of everything. But I think Bernie and Elton were really on top of their game on this one. Candle in the Wind, Benny and the Jets, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Grey Seal, which I think it was recorded on another record, but they included on this one. Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting. One of my favorite songs, Roy Rogers. Man, I love that song. I believe this is a great record. I mean, I think it's definitely a great album by Elton John, and I think it's one of the best of this decade. I know. I mean, this is only the ones that I'm only sharing those albums of bands that I've heard. I'm sure there are a lot of other great records that I haven't gotten into yet. So, and now I want to go to Fleetwood Mac, and Fleetwood Mac is one of those cases also that you don't know exactly what to because you got Rumors, but I don't. I like Rumors a lot, but I picked the album Fleetwood Mac, the self-titled. From Monday Morning to the last song, I enjoyed this record a little bit better than Rumors. I mean, there are a lot of great songs in Rumors, but there's something about Fleetwood Mac, this record, that I just love. I mean, Warm Ways, Monday Morning, I think that was a cool way to open the album. Say You Love Me, Landslide, one of my favorite songs ever. So this is kind of like, I have to pick this one over Rumors. If I had to pick one of the two, for me anyway, it would be the album Fleetwood Mac. Moving on, my other pick from albums from the '70s. I'm looking for the albums here. Let me see the list. Oh, I kind of passed that one. I'm gonna go with The Stranger by Billy Joel. Billy Joel it's kind of like a great singer-songwriter, and when it comes to albums released in 1977, The Stranger it's hit after hit, from Moving Out, Just the Way You Are, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, Only the Good Die Young, She's Always a Woman. This is an amazing album. Billy J. Joel has a lot of great records, but I have to say this one ranks among my favorite. So moving on now, I want to go now with a band that is really grandiose, and I have to say that the band is Queen, and I was listening because I didn't know which one to choose actually. Because I was between A Day in the Races and A Night at the Opera. And of course, A Night at the Opera is a great record, of course, Bohemian Rhapsody. But I found myself kind of loving A Day in the Races a little bit more. So I'm going with that one. I think Tie Your Mother Down, Long Way, You and I, great song, Somebody to Love, Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy, Let Us Cling Together. I kind of love this record a little bit more than the great album. I mean, Night at the Opera is a great record. But if I had to choose one, I guess I'd pick A Day in the Races. And Queen is a great band. I mean, they were making great records in the 70's and beyond until, of course, Freddie passed. But I will pick this one. I mean, Somebody to Love is one of the most amazingly beautiful song in terms of the vocals, the harmonies, and the way that the four of them actually, or the three of them, got together to do the harmonies of that song. It's really just amazing, really. Okay, so moving on now. I want to go now to Ringo Starr. Ringo, the album is called Ringo, released in 1973, and it's, I mean, it's Ringo. I mean, you know what to expect from this, from Ringo. But I have to say that this album, I mean, it featured the four Beatles for the first time, even though not all of them were participating on each track. John and George did, but not Paul and George. But of course, I mean, you got songs like I'm the Greatest, written by John Lennon. George was all over the album. He wrote a few tracks. But this one has a good combination of Ringo songs and great covers, like You're 16, You're Beautiful on Your Mind. So it's a great record. I mean, I really enjoy it from top to bottom. I think You and Me, Babe was a great way to end it. It was kind of like a nice song written by George and I think Mal Evans. So when it comes to Ringo, this is his best record. I think it combines everything that's good about what Ringo does on each record. So moving on now, what I wanted to get to was Simon and Garfunkel. Of course, 1970, they released Bridge Over Troubled Water. And Bridge Over Troubled Water, sadly, was their last record, but what an album. I mean, it's just such a beautiful record, both in performance, in lyrics, in everything. I mean, Bridge Over Troubled Water is one of the best songs ever written, in my opinion. And Art Garfunkel really performed that song with such power and emotion. I mean, I think it was just so beautiful. I mean, that song is just something else. But the whole album, The Condor Pasa Cecilia, Keep the Customer Satisfied, The Boxer, Baby Driver, The Only Living Boy in New York. This is a great album. So sadly it was their last, but I think it was a great record nonetheless. And of course, talking about Simon and Garfunkel, now I'm going to go with Paul Simon, because of course they each went their separate ways. And Paul Simon, I think, was he was a songwriter, so he was able to do more records. But there's an album that he made that I have to pick it, and it's There Goes the Rhyming Simon. I love that record. I mean, Kodachrome, great song. Something So Right. My favorite song, American Tune. It's one of my favorite songs ever. It was a great record. Loves Me Like a Rock. Learn How to Fall. St. Jude's Comet. Another Man's Ceilings, Another Man's Floor. It's a great album. It's a great album. And I think here he kind of displayed what he's best at in terms of variety of the songs. And great lyrics. I mean, great lyrics. So now moving on now. I think I'm going to go now to the portion of this video dedicated to the Beatles and what they did in the 70's. Of course, when it comes to 70's and favorite albums, I believe this album needs to be I'm on the top of the list. I mean, this is an amazing record. George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, and if you're able to get the 50th anniversary, there's a lot of good songs in it that he didn't even record, which I think is amazing. But anyway, the original record itself, it's a beautiful album. I mean, George was a talented songwriter, and I think he proved it. I mean, all those who doubted him just need to listen to this record, and the production, the music, everything just for me works so well. So okay, so moving on now, I have to say that another favorite record from the 70s, I would have to say Band on the Run by Paul McCartney and Wings. So I picked this record over the other ones because I think as a whole is his best. There's not a weak track in this record. And I think Paul was able to kind of get back to the kind of music he was doing with the Beatles. This is for the first time, I believe. And it's such a great cover also. You've got a lot of actors on it. I mean, this is the kind of Mike Douglas. This is a boxer. This is an actor. I don't know his name now. I think this is Christopher Lee. So this is cool. Of course, you got Paul, Linda, and Danny Lane on the cover. Songs like Band on the Run, Jet, Mammonia, No Words, Helen Wheels. Great album. And of course, we're not gonna let John Lennon out of it. Of course, in 1971, he released what I believe is his best record in Imagine. And musically, this is a great record. Great musicians, including George. George Harrison played guitar on a few tracks. Great songs on it. I think John was able to balance what he wanted to do with his music now, which was express his political views, but yet he was able to write other type of music for this record. So he was able to kind of like balance it out, which I think worked perfect for the album. And this is, I think, is one of the best records made in the 70s, and you know, I think it's John's masterpiece, in my opinion. Anyway, so let me see if there's anyone missing. I don't think I have. I think I went to Fleetwood Mac. I went to Queen. Okay, so that's it. Those are my favorite records from the 70s. Of course, like I said, there were a lot of great artists like Elvis who kept making good music in the 70s. I'm yet to discover a lot of other bands. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of other great bands that I eventually will get to. I tried to get into Pink Floyd, which was another 70s artist, but I just couldn't get into it. I know they're good, but their kind of music, I think, is not for everyone. As great as it was, and I'm not taking any merit away from them. But anyway, and the purpose of this was just to share those records that I love or prefer from the 70s. If you feel like you want to share yours, write them down in the comments. And you know, this is not about hopefully not insulting my list, and me not insulting your list if you feel like you want to put some in the comments, because like I said, these are just my favorite albums released on this decade. I think what I love about music is that everyone can have their favorite, and music is not bad. You know, if you don't like a certain kind of music, then you don't like it, but it doesn't mean it's bad no matter what you say about it. So you know, we all have our rights and our preferences. So that's what I believe in terms of music and movies. You know, we all have our favorites, and you can only give your opinion if you don't like it, but you cannot just slam someone or disrespect someone just because they like something you don't. But anyway, this is my video of my favorite albums from the 1970s. See you next time. Stay safe. Bye.